the country at age 29 was both terrifying and exciting. I had grown up all over the East Coast in different cities, from New York City, DC, and where my family is in Providence, Rhode Island. For those who don't know me, I'm Alexandra, and in this video I'm sharing why I moved all the way across the country from Providence, Rhode Island to Orange County, California. When I started working remotely, I decided to move back in with my family for a little while. Honestly, it really wasn't glamorous, but it gave me the chance to pay off all of my student loans from both my undergraduate and graduate programs. That time also gave me space to figure out what I really wanted. I was starting to journal and manifest and try to picture what my ideal life would look like. I already knew I wanted to live alone again, since even though I love my family, they do drive me crazy, and for some reason I revert back to being a little teenager whenever I live with them. With remote work flexibility in mind, I was really at a crossroads. I was really torn between going back to New York City, where a lot of my friends lived, where I'm used to. You know, you can take advantage of public transportation. I know a lot of great restaurants. It's relatively close to home. So Providence, Rhode Island is only about a 3-hour train ride from New York City, so it'd be really easy for me to go back and forth, and for my family to visit and spend time and maybe go on little camping adventures on the weekend. But it's close enough where I didn't feel like it was that big of a move. But since I had already lived in so many of the East Coast cities, New York, DC, Providence is so close to Boston, I feel like I've been enough times that I've basically lived there too. I really wanted another coastal city. I was starting to consider the West Coast, maybe Seattle, maybe San Francisco, or maybe somewhere outside of Los Angeles. New York felt safe and familiar, but I also felt like if I didn't take the chance now in my late 20s, when would I? I realized I didn't want to just keep repeating what I've already done. What made this choice easier for me is I was able to stay with my aunt and uncle for a while. So they very conveniently live in Orange County, and they've been here for quite some time, I think over 25 years. Last summer, they let me stay at their house, and I was actually dog sitting for them while they went on a really fancy European vacation. For me, it was kind of a trial run. I was there for 1 month just to see if I would actually like living here. And to my surprise, I really did. The weather, the food, especially the food, is really amazing here, as well as the proximity to Los Angeles. There are so many different types of things and events that you can take advantage of while still having a somewhat peaceful, calm, suburban, I would say, lifestyle. So when the timing lined up, I finally packed up my 2 suitcases. I donated or gave away basically everything else that I owned, all of my furniture, most of my winter clothes, and honestly, it feels so freeing. Decorating how I want, having quiet when I need it, and really just creating my own routines, working from home and living alone. But I won't lie, sometimes it can get a little lonely. I've been really lucky though. I've befriended a lot of my neighbors in the apartment complex through a community forum, and we have little weekly board game nights or video game nights, and we're actually all gonna watch Twilight soon because a few of the neighbors haven't seen it yet. So once the weather cools down a little bit, I'm really looking forward to throwing on some flannels and playing those classic songs from Twilight and making a little movie night of it. So of course there are some really big differences between the East and West Coast, and I would actually love to hear from you all as well if you've ever moved across the country like I have. Since my choice was between New York City and Los Angeles, that's what I'm gonna be comparing primarily. I always tell people New York has the best and the worst of everything. So any kind of food you want, any concert, you know, anything you wanna go see or do, the city has it all. They have really great public transportation, but there are a lot of pros and cons to living in New York City. Life can be hard. Carrying all of your groceries. I remember when I lived there, I was out in Queens and I would have to go get some specialty items and then carry it on the metro for 40 minutes. And I'd have to pick between if I wanted almond milk or juice that week because I couldn't physically carry both. Of course, you can do things like, you know, grocery delivery nowadays, but that wasn't an option for me while I was in grad school, and I didn't want to have to pay someone extra to do that. In New York, I love that you can just hop on the subway, end up in Soho, and wander around cafes or shops without really planning anything. It felt so spontaneous, and it was really easy to connect with people, whether you wanted to or not. Here in California, everything takes planning. The trip, parking, even meeting a friend across town can really take a lot of thought. Living alone here adds another layer. So back in New York City, I was always surrounded by roommates, friends, and my family visiting. In New York, you really don't have to try to feel social. Sometimes I do really miss that buzz. But for instance, it's nice when at 5 in the morning, no one is honking outside of my window, no one is smoking, no one is disturbing my peace. So here it's nice if you prefer quiet, but while working from home, sometimes you get a little bit too much quiet. Whenever I start to feel like that, I do remind myself that that's part of the process too. Building a community slowly, it's okay if that takes a little bit of time. You do start to miss what you used to have in different cities, different locations. Start missing your family or someone asking you how your day went when you come home. Or for me, turn around from my desk. That's me. That's my commute coming home. I just turn around. But I do love working from home. There's a lot more pros and cons that I'm going to be talking about next week with that. But yeah, building a new life takes time, and I'm excited where it's brought me so far and where it's going to continue going in the future. It's my first time living alone this far from home, so that can be a little bit challenging. But I will say I'm still very much close to my family. We always have some kind of upcoming trip that we can look forward to, seeing each other again. I'll be seeing them this Thanksgiving. And I talk to them on a really regular basis. I probably call them a little bit too much. But at the same time, I really love the independence. So cooking for myself, working from home in peace, and knowing that I'm building a life that's fully mine. I feel like in previous generations, even within my own family, women didn't have that option to work for themselves and live for themselves, picking out every single little thing in their life. Even some of my own relatives, they would just get married and have kids and that's it. No career, no decision making, they never moved, and they never got to travel. And I, of course, want to do all of those things. Not saying that someday maybe I won't get married or I won't have kids, but I just want it all. And there isn't a reason that I shouldn't be able to do that in 2025. After living in Orange County for about a year now, I feel very comfortable with the area. I got a car, learned how to drive on the crazy highways, the 405, the 5, the 101, whatever, 110. I think it's really, really beautiful. There's the Pacific Coast Highway. Pros and cons to living here. Pros, I would say the weather. It's generally pretty temperate. We do get a couple random hot days or, local fires, small earthquakes, things like that you have to just be aware of. But people here don't worry about it too much. They don't worry as much as I do. Other pros of living here, I would say the food is just as diverse as the food in New York City. So if you're having any kind of cravings, you can definitely find a good option for you here. Both Orange County and LA have a lot to offer when it comes to cuisine. But I really do love being near LA. I'm within an hour of the city. Even after work on weekdays or on the weekends, I'll frequently just shoot up to LA, spend the day. I've done a lot of interesting things. I've gone to a Clippers game. I've gone to really amazing museums like the Getty, the Broad, however you say it. LACMA, there was the Academy something museum. It's really fun to just walk around Santa Monica or Melrose, check out new restaurants or cafes. One thing I've really loved about being in Southern California is how many pop-ups there are, especially beauty pop-ups. I've always been a girl interested in beauty, makeup, skincare, and it's been amazing being able to have the opportunity to explore that in person here, especially with this explosion of K-beauty coming to the US. I love seeing how these brands show up in such interactive ways. You really get to know the different types of ingredients, the backgrounds, their dreams and visions as well, and you meet all kinds of interesting people at those pop-ups. So in New York, I was always going to Sephora or Ulta whenever I needed something, and I still do sometimes, but there are just so many additional options here that it's been amazing exploring these different brands. It makes me feel excited and connected to the city. Living in Orange County though, I do miss 3 things. I definitely miss my friends, my family, and most importantly, no I'm kidding, the fall weather. So I love everything about fall. I love the colors changing, the temperature dropping, just walking outside in nature and feeling at peace. And here you don't get that. Pros and cons of temperate weather. Weather's stereotypically perfect, usually 60s to 70s on most days, but it looks the same generally year round. Looking back, I really am happy that I took that leap. Moving at 29 by myself wasn't easy, but it feels like the right move for me. I think this time in my life is really about independence, growth, and building something, even if it's a little scary. So if you're thinking about making a big change, whether that's moving, living alone, or making a move in your career, or just starting something new, I hope this encourages you to go for it. Thanks so much for watching, and if you want to follow along with me in my new chapter in California, please subscribe. Next week, I'm going to be talking about working from home and my career journey that allowed me that flexibility. Take care.